Hi, I'm Dr. Ben Newman. I'm a coronavirus researcher with 20 some years experience, and I'm going to try to answer your questions with science. It's Ask Dr. Ben. Yeah, this is our thing. Yeah. Okay, next question is from Mark. And good morning, Mark. I hope everything is going swimmingly for you. Okay, so Mark is asking a question about the mRNA vaccine. Or maybe the Moderna mRNA vaccine. Let's see. I think it would apply to any of them, so that's fine. We'll answer for both. Stepson and grandson have a very rare genetic mutation that does not allow the body to process the normal vaccines without causing hospitalization after receiving a vaccine. That is very unusual, and I wonder if you're talking about something like platelet factor 4 antibodies. If you could, I don't know, next time they're at some kind of doctor, or if you can get a little more information out, it would be good to know exactly what we're dealing with, because there are going to be different possible defects, and some of these things happen on a day and then you test it out later and there's nothing, there's no sign of it. It's just like, yeah, a sort of a spontaneous thing that happens once and is not predictive. So we would need more information to actually unpack that part of it, but the second half of the question we can deal with. And so this is so because the mRNA vaccine works somewhat differently than the regular and normal vaccines, with changing, making all vaccines mRNA, those with genetic mutations would also be able to be vaccinated without risk of adverse effects. mRNA vaccines actually work in pretty much the same way. So it's a different mechanism, but that's kind of like a specialist term. In terms of what the vaccine is showing to your immune cells, it's the same thing. But depending on which exact problem there is, the answer would potentially be different. So I would need more information there. But the way I would explain the mRNA vaccine, let's say you got a locker at school, let's say you want to lock it up. You can lock it with a padlock that's got a key. You can lock it with a combination lock. It's got a little dial on the front. You could lock it up with one of those fancy new thumbprint activated locks, which is basically just, the same as the other two, but with a little reader on it and a little battery, and you put your thumb on it, and it's like unlocking your phone. So, to a lock specialist, they would say, whoa, those are three completely different ways to lock up a locker. In terms of what they actually do, it's like a metal U-shaped piece that goes through a little hole in your locker and prevents it from being unlocked. And when you put in the right signal, it's gonna unlock. So the vaccines are like that. They do exactly the same thing. They fit in the same hole. They serve the same purpose. It's just a slightly different way that the internal mechanism of the thing works. And probably maybe we've made too much about this, because the idea that the mRNA vaccines are really different is for sure out there, but the idea that they are doing exactly the same thing with exactly the same gene as the more conventional versions of the vaccine doesn't seem to have as much traction. I think maybe that's just a little bit less interesting to know that something is, yeah, pretty much the same as all the other ones. Yeah, nothing to see here. It's just kind of boring. Sorry. So yeah, depending on the problem, we could maybe give a little bit more scientific insight. But without that, yeah, there is a reasonable chance that, it could be fine with an mRNA. We just would need to know what condition we're dealing with, which particular cells are affected, in what way they're affected, because each genetic change is actually going to be really specific. Any sort of genetic problem somebody would have. And it's only going to take out or change the function of one little tiny part of what is a very big, complex machine with a lot of parts that kind of work on their own. And so you may be messing up one part of the machine, or have it, messed up. Yeah, nobody's doing anything here. It's just genetic. But yeah, there may be a bunch of other parts that would still work normally. And so, yeah, knowing more, we could actually say more. So that's all we can do for now on this. But yeah, I wish you and your, what was it, grandson and stepson all the best. Because, yeah, It's a weird world out there right now, and the vaccines do appear to be very much the way we're going to get out of this. And it's just a matter of how fast we can get through these things, and get to a little hope for the future, exactly as you say at the end of the question. I like that. Yeah. So thanks very much. This has been Ask Dr. Ben.